So hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can create a very realistic kind of cloth simulation in Blender. So the first thing that you need to do that in this tutorial I'm not going to show you the all how to create this type of cloth, but I'm going to brief you through the settings that helps you to make a very good type of cloth simulation. So the first thing that you need to do, you have to make sure that your cloth is not intersecting like this, because if it is like intersecting with your model or any kind of object, then it will not be simulated properly. So make sure that you solve this type of issues. So I will use edit tool to just bring back the mesh outside like this. So you have to do, you can also sculpt, you can use sculpt tool, but I'm using this one because it's easier to control everything. So you have to just drag drop these things like that, and then it will be fine. So when your cloth is looking good, then what you have to do, you have to just go to your setting. You have to add a cloth simulation. I'm not gonna show you everything. You can watch other tutorials in YouTube. There are many tutorials, so you can watch them, and I will just show you the settings. Okay, so you have to first add a collision to your model. So the settings of this is the particle. You have to just make everything 0 0 0. The soft body and cloth, you have to increase your damping to 1. Thickness outer 0.001, inner 0.001. So these settings will help your cloth to interact with your object very closely, so it looks realistic. Because if you make this thing larger, then what will happen, there is a gap between your collision, so it looks fake while simulating and it doesn't look good. So make sure that you reduce it to 0.001. You have to just copy the settings and you don't need to do anything. Okay, so after that, and the other thing, you have to make sure that you have enough subdivisions like this. So you can see I have so many subdivisions in my cloth. So, and make sure that your geometry, like your cloth geometry, is square shape, because if there is any kind of triangle like this, too many like triangle shapes like this, there I have so many triangles like this. If it is too much, then your cloth simulation will not look good, because it needs this type of square typology, or what we say. I really don't know, I forgot. So you need that kind of squarish mesh. So make sure that you make this thing squarish as much you can. It will help your cloth simulation to look better. So after this, you have to do this setting. You have to add a cloth simulation, and in cloth simulation you have to make your quality step to 30. I will not recommend to use 30. Yes, you can use, if you have a beefy, like not beefy, like a mid to high end PC, you can use 50, or you can use 30 25 something like that, or you can use also 15. So make sure that if this number is, the more this number is, the better your cloth simulation will be. But there is some limit of this. Okay, you just can't do crazy, like means realistic, like at some point you will see that there is not that much difference between the quality of the simulation, but your render time will increase like so much. Okay, so just try some settings like 25 15 and try it like yourself. Okay, then there are some physical properties. Make sure you set this thing 0.08, everything like this. And there is a stiffness 10 10 10, shearing, bending. You just have to copy these settings. Okay, make sure you copy everything like this. And then you have to, I will tell you this about caching later in this tutorial, but you can leave this thing for now. And then there is an option of collision. Okay, so this one is better. So do not go more than 8, because it doesn't. So if you're thinking that like the more is better, it is not. Like you can set it to 8 and you can try yourself. For me 8 is working perfectly fine. And yeah, and then there is an option called object collision, so you have to set this also. And then self collision, like this, friction should be like 5 distance between like 0.001. So this distance things just make sure will make sure that your cloth and your object will colliding with each other very closely, and it will give you kind of realistic look. So make sure that you set this thing at the very less number, or you can make this thing 0.001, so it will be better. Okay. And the other thing, if you want to make your cloth like windy stuff like that, so you have to add this type of force field, wind field, force field. You can just press shift A, and then you can see that there is an option of force field. You can add different type of force in this. So that's it, and you have to just keyframe those things to make the cloth move like realistically. And after doing all these settings, what you have to do, you have to go to a cache section. So I'm starting my simulation from this point, frame 2, and ending to 370, something like this. You can change it to yourself. It depends totally on your animation how long it to be. For me it was 370, so I'm using 370 for this one. And then you have to click on bake all dynamics, or you can just press bake. I will recommend you to press bake all dynamics, and then you press on this. It will try to bake everything, and then your simulation is good to go. So after this, when everything is done, you can just export this animation into a Alembic file. Like if you go to file, and then if you go to export to Alembic file, you can export it to Alembic file. Just make sure that if you are exporting to Alembic file, that you have to, if you just want to export this thing, then you have to just press on the selected object and visible object. And then if you are exporting this thing to other software like Unreal Engine, so you have to make this thing to 100. It's totally depend on software to software. So for Unreal, 100 work fine, but for other softwares like Maya or other thing, I really don't know. You have to search for it. But for like this Unreal Engine, it will work like this. You have to just check these things. You can enable these things also, normals, UV, everything. Particle system, you can also take this thing, enable subdivision, so your subdivision will be applied properly, and everything is fine. And then you can just click on export Alembic, and your simulation will be exported properly. Okay. And the other thing is, if you want to add you can also add a solidify modifier. So if you add a solidify like this, so what will it do? It will just create a thickness. It will create the thickness of cloth, you can see there. So you can also use this. So before exporting, you can apply this thing, so it export properly with those things, solidify, subdivision, everything. And then it's done. So that's it. Thank you for watching.